This was another film I went to watch without really knowing anything about it. Welcome back, or if you are new here, welcome. My name is Katrina and I make bookish content as well as movie reviews and Disney stuff here on this channel every week. All of my movie reviews are spoiler free and I will leave a playlist of my recent reviews linked up above in case you are looking for something else to watch this weekend. But yes, I went to go and see Eddington, really not knowing anything about it. It was actually something that Ollie wanted to watch and said, I like the sound of this. I was like, yep, I will come along. I will watch pretty much anything. And yeah, it was an interesting one. So you had Joaquin Phoenix and you had Pedro Pascal. And Joaquin Phoenix is like a sheriff of a New Mexico town, and Pedro Pascal is the mayor of this New Mexico town. It's during May 2020, basically. So we have COVID in place, we have COVID restrictions in place, we have mask mandates in place, we have, signs up about one toilet paper per person, things like that. We have queuing outside the local supermarket, but we have all of that concentrated into one town in the middle of nowhere, New Mexico. And so it is just this whole powder keg of all of these factors coming into play. Then you have the fact that the sheriff is married to someone who is the daughter of the previous sheriff who was killed on duty, I think, and her mother, who's a conspiracy theorist, also lives with them. So you've got all the conspiracy theories that were going on during COVID anyway, added into that mix. And then the mayor is a single dad, but he also runs a bar. Bars were takeout only at this point, so what's going on there? Yeah, it was a really interesting, weird little movie that I find really hard to describe. One of the reasons why I found it such a compelling watch was because I lived in Colorado in 2020, at the time that this film was set in 2020. I lived in Colorado. This was being billed as being in like northern New Mexico, so not far from Santa Fe, so again, like close to the border. And I traveled to like rural cities and towns in and around Colorado at this time, which had sort of similar vibes, that there was this mask mandate, but people didn't really want it. They didn't feel like they ought to because they were in a small town. There was no COVID here. It really was definitely close to home for me. And so I think that had like an added layer to it because it was so close to home for me. And then as well, the whole town looked exactly like the town where our friends lived, to the point where we were like, did they use your house to film this movie? Because we know that their town, people like come and scout and say, could we put you on a list of like towns or houses to use in future productions, and I know that they've signed up for this. So that was really interesting, and I think without those things it probably wouldn't have been such a compelling watch for me, because all this drama seemed to come out of nowhere, and it also made me feel quite tense because of the mask mandates versus the people not wanting to wear the mask versus the people who couldn't wear the mask because they were asthmatic or they were older, and that kind of like brought it back to that whole time for me, like back to May 2020, and so some of it was a bit of an uncomfortable watch. Then we got into the drama that came out of nowhere, and that drama got really, really petty, really, really like hot-tempered and very like sweary and very violent. And so there were some interesting moments where you're like, how have we reached this point that things have got this violent and this kind of drama action filled in this small town that was just meant to be, oh, somebody's decided to run for mayor and that's it. It's yeah, it was, on paper it looks really silly, but when you're watching it and you're sort of in that like pressured atmosphere of the small town, you've got that like tension that you feel as an audience. Yeah, there were some points that made me laugh. There were some funny moments. And there were some points that made me go, oh, for sure. But yeah, it's such a weird little film. Very long though. Definitely very long. I think they could have cut down some parts and definitely still kept the essence of the film. Still had, you know, as much gratuitous violence as it had, and as much like pettiness and tension between these two male characters as it had, whilst cutting like an hour off the film. And that sounds controversial, and I'm sure that all those like elongated scenes were put in there to add to the tension, and I just didn't realize it subconsciously it was adding to that tension. But I do think it was too long. So should you pay your cinema money to go and watch this one this week? I really think that this film is an acquired taste. There were lots of people in our theatre and nobody left, but I do think that you have to go into it knowing that it's a bit on the long side and it's a bit on the like side. And so I wouldn't recommend this for everyone. I think it's maybe something to watch at home, or maybe something to watch in two halves as well, because it is so long. So I wouldn't recommend this as a pay your cinema going money to go and see this one. I think there are better films on at the cinema this week that you could go and watch. So there you go. As always, if there is a particular movie you would like to hear my thoughts on next week, I will happily go and watch on demand. Just let me know in comments. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future bookish content, movie reviews, Disney content. And I will be back with another video for you very soon. So I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.